Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you joining us, especially on nights when Science Bob is here. Yes, Dr. Bob McGwier will join us for, let's just bullshit our way through a lot of the UFO stuff tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun, just like having each and every one of you here. Trucker Andrew in the gold medal position, Tim Mothman, or Mel WD-40 with a silver, Tim Mothman and his goatee, filling in the bronze medal tonight. Kitty Caddywhack, how are you? Mel WD-40 is here, lubing us up for tonight's show. Because you always want to go into a show with Science Bob nice and smooth. And in fact, Bob requires Mel show up 2 hours before showtime to lube him up. That's how important Mel is to what we do here on the show. Necessary Dialogue, Gory Tiger, nice to have you guys here as we start off our roll call. Aaron Baca is back. Aaron Baca will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Mama Catherine, I love you, my dear. I hope you had a great day. I know you're going to enjoy tonight's show. I know you will. I promise you. Hi there, Cat Chaser. You're awesome. And who else do we have in our chat room? Thomas Rock, Robert Lamoth, Jaquetta, Kurt M. Nice to have you all here. And what in tarnation? How are you? Good morning, Skip to my Lou. And Alien Critter, how you doing? Good to see you. Number 55 in your program, starting on defense tonight from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Janssen. Pam Harris, how are you? Kurt M. And J Truth Seeker, good to have you here. Little Cam on YouTube tonight. He literally, I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true. Okay. He squatted 800 pounds on his back tonight, 74 times in like 10 minutes. His knees must be killing him, but he's ready for tonight's show. D. Cypher will be here, signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Trebor, how are you tonight? Eternity Eternal, nice to see you. Walter Kochabinski, Rocker and Rory, Paul Demon, nice to have you all here. Scrolling on down, there's Jeremy Jones, the pride of Dallas. He's a Stars fan. I don't know why anybody would want to be that, but hey, what the hell. Jessica Davenport, nice to see you again. And who's next? Well, let's keep on scrolling, shall we? Frankie B., good to have you here. Kenna Chef Chris, nice to see you. And Matthew Goodka, thanks for coming on in. Monica, how are you? Michael Gutierrez, Fast Hemi, thanks for coming on in. Oh, if I look like I'm out of breath tonight, I ate pizza before dinner tonight, and I feel like crap. I do. I knew better, but I feel like absolute garbage right now. Fapster, how are you doing tonight? And who's next? That's it. We're caught up. Hey, if you're a member of our YouTube channel, Friday or Saturday, probably Friday afternoon, you're going to get the first view of our latest episode of Secrets in the Forest. Yeah, you are. So make sure you watch for that on your notifications, because you're definitely going to want to watch it. You get the first crack. That's one of the beautiful parts of being one of our members, is you get first crack at stuff like that. The Watchman, how are you? Let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. As we prepare for another edition of Science Bob and Friends with Dr. Bob McGwier, we are in roll call on our YouTube side right now. Palladium, my man, how you doing? Nice to see you. Already we're caught up. This is weird. Where is everybody? Where are you? Oh, I know you guys will all show up. I know you will. Oh, yeah, pizza does get me every time. Oh, God, I feel terrible. It was ham and pineapple. Ham and pineapple. Yep. Just can't do it anymore. Getting old. Reminder, the super chat is open. Be like Cat Chaser. Thank you very much for kicking things off tonight, Cat Chaser. Very much appreciate your love. And, of course, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Do me a favor, everybody. Throw those horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods. We're together, my friends. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We have an amazing show for you tonight. Science Bob is here, Dr. Bob McGwier, with his monthly visit into Spaced Out Radio Land, where we talk about the who, what, where, when, why, and how of all things paranormal and supernatural. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off. We're going to follow that up by little Timmy James from his home studio joining us for the UFO Report. Yes, it is that time of the month where our resident scientist, Dr. Bob McGwier, formerly of Virginia Tech University, has joined us for another edition of Science Bob and Friends. Now, Science Bob has quite a resume. He's got his name on over 20 satellites in space. He's taught scientists from around the world on everything from mathematics to applied physics and everything in between. He's been a spy for the CIA. He's been a part of the NRO. He's part of the SCU. He's a UFO guy. And now, in his retired years, he still gets the itch to get back into the game, to figure out what is going on with this UFO story. He is all over social media. You can find him. Just type in Bob McGwier, and he'll be right there. But right now, he'll be right here. Science Bob. It is always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing super duper. I hope everybody in the audience is feeling good. It's a good night to talk about UFOs.
It really is a good night to talk about UFOs. But I want to talk about something else right off the bat here. But before we do that, for people listening for the first time, learning about who's this Science Bob guy. Look, Science Bob is a nickname. You're really Dr. Robert McGwier. You have a resume that probably, is longer than any floor length that you have in your kitchen. You've been there, done that. You've seen it. You've done it all. tell us a little bit about your background.
Wow. Okay. So I was born in in Tennessee, moved to Alabama when I was 1, went to school through senior year at a tiny little school in Clark County, Alabama, where I graduated with 109 people. And then I had great teachers, and I went from there and took off and did math and engineering, and he went to work at Sandia National Labs and figured out I needed a doctorate, got a doctorate from Brown University, went to work for the intelligence community, stayed there for 3 decades. After that, I joined the faculty at Virginia Tech, teaching scientists and engineers and mathematicians how to work for the intelligence community and DOD, and started 2 companies. So I've had a full life.
You've also played around on the dark side of the government. A lot of it you cannot talk about because your name is attached to a plethora of NDAs and everything like that. But you found your way into the UFO field how?
Well, that was really interesting. So when I was helping young people do technical work for the classified government, I still had all my classified connections and very high level clearance and a secure facility at Virginia Tech. So people just remembered me and talked to me and told me stuff. And I kept hearing about this UFO stuff popping up all over the place because people wanted me to talk to them about the technical stuff behind it. And I saw a few pictures and went, wow. So I got into following. Given that I lived in the national security state most of my adult life, I wanted to learn about UFOs in the national security state. So boom, that's Richard Dolan. So I joined Richard Dolan's bunch, read his books, started working for him and maintained his forum and so forth. And it just took off. And while I was doing that, I saw him interview Chris Bledsoe 4 hours. And after that, I reached out to Chris. Chris let me come over to visit him. And we had, wow, did we have experiences. And they followed me home. And I've had them ever since.
It's because of you that I'm on the radar. I still love that story, Bob. And when I say on the radar, I'm saying that people investigating who I was, all because of you and my relationship with you. It was
so I had foreign nationals, even Canadians, they're a suspect. So if I have a foreign national friend, I have to tell security people who my foreign national friend is. So I told Dave, we could be friends and keep doing Science Bob, but he had to have me tell the people inside the spook world who he was when they would check into him. And he went, go ahead. And that was shortly after we met at UFO Con in 2020, where he gave me the name Science Bob.
That's right. And it's stuck ever since. You know what I think is funny is everybody in the UFO world now calls you Science Bob.
Yeah, that's my name. I don't think most of them even remember my last name.
Nobody does. You're Science Bob. That's all that matters.
Yep.
That's all that matters. No, that's true. I remember that phone call because you actually scared the daylights out of me because I thought I'd screwed up. I really did. And you're like, Dave, we have to have a serious conversation. And after this conversation, you may never want to talk to me again. And I went, oh, God, what did I say? What did I do? And I'm trying to run through the old Rolodex to figure it out. And then Science Bob says, you know who I work for? And I said, yes. Well, they see my phone bill. And they want to know why I've been communicating multiple times a week with a foreign national, this Canadian in the middle of nowhere, British Columbia. So Science Bob says to me, I'm going to give you the choice. You can either give me your personal information so that way they can check you out and clear you, or we can remain friends, but we can no longer speak on these topics. ever again. And selfishly, I said, does this mean there's going to be a 1-page dossier of me in the Pentagon after this? And he's like, yes, there will be. I went, I'm in. I am totally in on this. So thank you, Science Bob, for getting me into the Pentagon. I appreciate that.
Well, that's better than my file. My file's a foot thick.
Oh, I bet. I bet. Now let's get to the question that I wanted to ask you. Okay, I really need a scientific opinion on this. And I was talking to little Timmy James before the show regarding this situation that you and I had kind of briefly chatted about. Last week when we were in the forest, Bob, we followed Robin Haynes's lead. You know, right beforehand, she said, I want you to look at your gifting tree. And she goes, I'm picking them up about 30 yards to your right. So we go about, and then she says, pardon me, then she says, after that, another 30 yards in, there's more that are in that area. So we end up going to that area 30 yards away. Lo and behold, Bob, it is the same little mini minnow where in 2023, Samantha Mowat, Merle, myself, Tim Senor, and our camera crew actually had an experience in this meadow with paranormal activity. Now, this meadow is not very big. It's maybe 40 feet by 40 feet. Okay, I don't even know if you could call it a meadow, maybe a grassy area or whatever, mossy area. But Bob, we couldn't breathe. It was like there was a lack of oxygen in the middle of a forest, which doesn't make sense because trees produce oxygen. Okay. And then we ended up leaving that area. We got about 20 feet out of that area, and all of a sudden the air was fine. We could totally breathe again. We walked a parallel trail, walked past this little meadow, and walked beyond it another 30 yards, like Robin said. We get to that 30-yard mark, and guess what? We can't breathe again. How does this happen in the middle of a forest, Bob? You're scientific. You know this stuff.
Can't think of any science that I can think of that would allow the atmosphere in an area to be deprived of oxygen without something obvious doing it. So, dude, you ran into a weird place. Maybe it's a portal where the Bigfoot can come and go and they don't have much oxygen, or they have a high whatever content, and you found it hard to breathe, or you felt you couldn't breathe. Did you get lightheaded?
No, I'll be honest with you. You know what? Do you remember that moment in the movie Wizard of Oz when Dorothy and the lion and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow, they start running through the poppy field, and they all of a sudden feel tired and just want to have a nap?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. And it,
well, there's nonstop stories of the non-human intelligence phenomenon putting people to sleepish. Maybe that's what they were trying to do.
I really don't know. It was an uncomfortable feeling, though, Science Bob.
Oh, I bet it was a little bit frightening.
Well, considering when Tim all of a sudden turns his back in the meadow and he goes, "You got to be kidding me." And here we were, literally, and you'll see it on camera when this show gets downloaded, Secrets of the Forest, in about 2 weeks' time. You'll actually see it, where we're standing literally less than 5 feet from what could be the possible start of a tree structure.
Wow!
And we didn't even see it until Tim noticed it and pointed it out on camera.
Oh, I can't wait to see the tree structure. How intricate was it?
Not very. It was like the start of one. It was like the start of one where you could see the bedded area. You could see a tree that was bent over to make a cover that shouldn't have been bent over because there was nothing holding it down. except a smaller tree that was lodged to kind of tighten it up. It was very, very odd. Very odd.
Yeah, that's why. Well, I mean, look at the handful of serious videos I've seen. The feeling I get is when you see those tree structures, except the really ornate ones, they just look like things that are just put together, but they don't look natural. There's just enough structure to them that they don't look natural. And it's just, or you get a feeling or whatever. It's pretty amazing.
I just want to address something in our chat room, because in the studio is like, no pictures? I'm going to tell you right now, as an extremely amateur researcher, I'm more of an enthusiast than a researcher. I don't call myself a researcher. I hate calling myself a researcher because I feel like a fraud. I'm not like one of these people in the UFO or paranormal world who self-titles themselves just because they think they're a journalist. Bob, you know who I'm talking about there, right? Yeah. I don't consider myself a researcher, even though we're doing a research project. I forget. As stupid as that sounds, I forget to take photos. Tim's the camera guy. Tim is capturing everything. So if you want to see the structure, you'll have to wait for the video for 2 weeks. Okay? You'll have to. There is no choice. And I have the stupidity of always forgetting to take a photo. I don't know why. It's a mental block, but I do. I have to be better at that. Because you know what? It kind of helps. It kind of helps. It's just like I should be filming videos out there for our YouTube channel and our TikTok and everything like that. And I forget. Totally forget. I'm just too into it.
I believe it. I mean, we get out on our back deck and we get to see and stuff, and lots of times we just forget.
You got that right.
I blew it. I had the most perfect triangle craft fly over our house, and I screwed up my night vision camera and didn't get the video.
Ouch.
That hurt. Still hurts.
I bet it does. I bet it does. So, Bob, going back into the trees there for a second, you can't think of anything scientific that would cause air to all of a sudden feel like it's no longer in our lungs.
Nothing, because that place has got to be in thermodynamic equilibrium. It's in the middle of nowhere. So it's just impossible to figure it out. Something is doing it that is not natural.
Lots going on in the UFO world, Bob. We got about 6 minutes to go before we, say goodnight to this first half hour of the show, because it's flying on by already. Anna Paulina Luna, representative of head of the Conspiracy Club. I know they got an actual real name, but it's so much more fun calling it the Conspiracy Club.
Yep.
She goes on Joe Rogan earlier. And if you haven't heard this Joe Rogan portion, it's literally it's literally the first 15 minutes of the show where she just jumps right into this whole UFO/UAP debacle. And some of the things that she was saying, Bob, if you're not a where's the proof kind of guy or a trust me bro kind of person, she was saying quite a bit.
I'm sure she's making Zodiac pretty unhappy.
What is Zodiac?
That's what MJ12 is called now.
How did you learn that?
Low friends in high places.
You're being very cryptic.
Yep.
Well, she went on to say,
I'll tell you, look, people, there was a space on X run by Missile Man, and Missile Man had a guest and he is recovering the audio recording for that space, and we'll post it. People should listen to that because they go into Zodiac in detail. Whenever it comes up, just look for Missile Man on X. He had a space with Richard Dell, who he and his father were doing weird stuff for the government for a long time until he claims they murdered his mother and father and tried to kill him. Doctors never could figure out why his father died the way he did. Never figured it out. It looked like mad cow disease, but it happened in 3 weeks, not 6 months.
Luna went off on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Ooh,
okay, yeah. About, even going as far, basically, there's only a rule. So you're told never to vote down a rule and never vote against your party. And she's broken those. And then she talks a lot about UFOs and the secrecy behind it, basically saying that there is almost, without basically saying it, she said there's like a secret shadow government there that's calling the shots on this, that she has seen photographic evidence that proves to her, and she can't talk about the photos because she was shown them in a skiff, that there is no way that she could talk about it publicly.
Yep.
But she did state that these photos gave her more than ample proof to see that this wasn't man-made technology and that it is from elsewhere. Your thoughts?
Well, I saw photos like that in a couple of videos, and then I had my own personal experiences twice with the Navy, and I can just tell you this stuff is real and our government's lying to us.
Is it the government that's lying, Bob, or is it certain sectors of the government?
Look, there is a cabal, but they are in charge of our government's interactions and behavior. And they tell people way up high that they can't be read into it and talked to about it because it's too dangerous and too secret and too whatever. I'm just telling you. It's wild. And I would love to see this secrecy end to the extent it doesn't actually harm national security in a way that you and I would agree is national security. I don't want them doing it to cover people's butts. I want them to do it because it would harm us directly, our national security directly, to be told stuff. Then they don't have to do that. Show us a craft, show us a body, show us what you can, and keep the secret stuff secret.
One of the things that she says, and you and I really haven't got into this before, but I'm going to go down this road here, and we're probably going to have to carry this over into the next half hour.
I'm good.
So maybe a little bit of food for thought before we go to break here. One of the things that she stated was that she believes that these are interdimensional beings that have the power to basically bend the time-space continuum. If you go back to Back to the Future, and Doc basically telling Marty that that's how he figured out time travel. But then she goes into another mark on that, which is the religious connotation of it all. Now, she describes herself as a Christian, which is fine. Everybody has their own beliefs. But she said that there is something about this that is very, very, how can you put it? I'm going to use the word magical of what is going on that ties to many religions in a lot of the books that are not in the current Bible. I want to get into that with you when we return on Spaced Out Radio. Science Bob and Friends with Dr. Bob McGwier here on Spaced Out Radio. We love it when Science Bob is here. He always brings it each and every month on the mighty SOR. This bloody heartburn from this pizza is just driving me crazy right now.
I'm sorry. You don't have any Tums?
I got them upstairs because, they're going to help me when they're upstairs. Broken Shadow Feather, how are you? Jeff Steve Garvey is here. He'll hit a home run for you. We'll take questions an hour or two, guys. I might have to do the unthinkable and actually have a glass of milk. Oh, I can't stand milk.
There you go.
Jeremy Jones, I think it's been beaten up a little bit more than just that many times. Gizmo, how are you?
And Jeremy, we're getting sick of beating it. We want some truth.
Mm-hmm. By the way, a big happy birthday to Michelle Eilis. Going to sing her a song right now. Bob, you ready?
Let's go.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
Michelle.
Eilis.
Happy birthday to you and many more.
Oh, yeah. Congrats, Michelle. Happy birthday, my beautiful friend. Sherry Diane, how are you tonight? Pineapple belongs on pizza, Monica. It's good. It's the tomato sauce that gets me.
And she gave us a super chat on her birthday.
I know. Very kind of her. Very kind of her. There is a rumor that her husband, Steve, is retiring from professional wrestling.
Oh, here we go.
Yep. By the way, I have a note here that was left on my desk, and it was put there a couple days ago, Michelle. It's right here. Okay. I'm just going to read it verbatim. I don't know who put this there. I'm just going to read it. Remember, it's not my fault. Okay? It's not my fault. It says, of course, the Navajo warrior is retiring before the most deadly match he could have ever been in with El Ovni Volador and El Fantasmo. The Yellow Belly is leaving the business because he can't handle the fact that we would beat the tarnation out of him in the squared circle. He is lucky that he has never had to deal with us in the wrestling ring. We would have made him cry and beg for mercy if he had stepped in the ring with us. Signed, El Ovni Volador and El Fantasmo. Now, that's a bullshit letter right there. I mean, I can't believe that I found that on my desk. Okay? Can't believe I found that on my desk. But there it was. I thought I would pass it over to you guys. Sorry. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. It wasn't me. I didn't write it. Those two idiots did. Okay. Personally, I think Navajo Warrior could crush them in less than 40 seconds. But those guys are just horrible. Thank you tonight to Dutch Hank, Michelle, Science Bob, and Cat Chaser for the wonderful super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Good morning, Ian McFadden. Good morning to you. All right.
She's bribing you to go in the ring.
1 sec, Science Bob. Here we go. Here we go with the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for tuning us in as we got Science Bob on the hot seat to make sure that we're talking the good stuff on this show. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go, Dr. Bob McGwier. We call him Science Bob around these parts. Hanging on out with us for the who, what, where, when, why, and how of everything strange and absurd in this world that we love to live in. Science Bob, how are you? 1 second here. There we go.
There we go. I couldn't find my cursor or I would have done it. So I'm doing great, Dave. And thank you, Michelle, again for your generosity. And I love Dave's Navajo Warrior shirt.
It is pretty awesome. It is pretty awesome. Yes. Wrestling legend, Navajo Warrior, retiring. He is a fan of this show, along with his beautiful wife, Michelle, who's celebrating a birthday today. So happy birthday to you. All right. Right before the break, we were talking about Anna Paulina Luna basically going off on the UFO story on the Joe Rogan Experience, largest podcast in the world. And she was very, very adamant that she believes that she has seen enough evidence to believe that there is something out there that we cannot control. But she took it down a different turn that I didn't expect to. It included the missing chapters in the Bible, especially the book of Enoch, where they are believing, or many are believing, that this does have some sort of tie to something very religious, Bob. Now,
well, especially the part that's called the Book of the Watchers.
I'm sorry, you cut me off.
Yeah, especially the part called Book of the Watchers.
So what is your overall theory on that? Because that seems to be a part of the subject that the UFO world hasn't delved into.
It's a little odd that the Catholic Church, or the original, the Nicene Council, decided not to include the Book of Enoch, because and I'm sure it's because it has the Book of the Watchers in it, in which the talk about the sons of God came down and intermarried or had children with the women, humans, and they gave birth to offspring, which are called Nephilim. And so I'm sure that's why they didn't want to include it. But what it sounds to me like is non-human intelligence flew down on their UFO and made hybrids.
She seems very, as a self-proclaimed Christian, concerned about this part of the UFO story, that she doesn't believe humanity would be ready to hear all of that, because Rogan did ask, why not just tell us? Why not just let it out? Why is that going to hurt?
I don't understand it either. Look, I mean, my father's a minister. I've been a Christian all my life, and doesn't bother me a bit. I don't believe a believer in Jesus Christ would allow someone to limit what God can do. That's sacrilegious.
It's an uncomfortable portion of the conversation.
It is.
because we've always been taught that, science and religion do not mix. It's like oil and water. And here, basically, what she is saying is that many people within the government community regarding this subject actually have some sort of belief that the two do mix, Bob.
Well, look, I don't claim anybody has it all correct. I believe the stories in the Bible are great. I love the teachings of Jesus, but I don't believe all the versions of all of that have been written and are now constitute the Bible are all perfect. And the reason they're not perfect is there are different passages and different sections that contradict each other directly. So you got to realize it's the best interpretation the authors of that time could make of the things they were taught and observed.
Do you believe then that this is something that maybe every government religion fears? Is that type of truth coming out?
I don't understand. Look, it's not. Let me tell you, it's illogical. Why is it illogical? Let's take the New Testament as true, beginning to end. What does it tell you? It tells you that Mary gave birth to a hybrid from a non-human intelligent spirit, making her pregnant. That's how she got a virgin birth. I mean, it just makes no sense to me for anyone to say it's just not possible when they believe it was done.
Really is crazy, isn't it?
Yep. I think the Catholic Church is coming to a realization. So anybody that's heard Diana Walsh-Pasulka speak on her research areas in public, she's been given unfettered access to the Vatican archives. And she tells such stories as the internal version of St. Francis of Assisi, which is very different from the told everyone else version. The internal version is a craft came down, shot him full of beams, bored holes in him with a ray gun, and let him die in a few weeks from radiation poisoning or something like that. That's right out of her mouth after having read the actual original documents. So the church is responsible for a lot of the cover-up. And they have to know better.
It is kind of scary, though, on why many religious communities, and I don't want to go off on a religious bashing course because it's easy to get into that, but I want to have a discussion about this with you, Bob, albeit a brief one. It is amazing, though, how many in the religious communities, if this is indeed tied to religion or God or any sort of consciousness, higher power, whatever you want to call it, it's up to you. If it is tied, I mean, this is something that every religion on the world then has been duping people, potentially, allegedly, okay, in what to believe and what not to believe. Because if you look at almost every major religion in the world, anything that comes from the sky, the stars, or whatever, is demonic.
Yeah, it's just, makes no sense to me. I think the way to live parts of the Bible are very good. The actual written parts about what interacted with us is the best they could do.
Well, it is interesting. I want to talk about something else that she mentioned here, too, in regards to the aliens themselves, NHI, whatever fancy term you want to use today. She says they call them interdimensional beings. I think that they can actually operate through the time spaces that we currently have, and that's not something that I came up with on my own. That's based on stuff that we have seen. That's based on information that we have been told, we as being the conspiracy club and the skiffs. What do you know about this?
There's a lot of stuff that gets passed around inside that is, still classified, but I've seen some evidence of this stuff, and I'm on the outside now and have been since 2020. And so I haven't kept up with what's known inside because they can't legally tell me. But I mean, I saw enough to know that we know a lot more than we are letting on, and they're afraid of upsetting people.
What is the fear, in your opinion?
Fear? Let's just take the party in power. The GOP is a religious party given its donors, and some of them they would not tolerate these stories about that we are now discussing. They would be against it because it's not the doctrine of their beliefs. And they support the people who make the laws and run the government. And so they don't want to offend them.
Either way, it got many people talking about UFOs. When Anna Luna speaks, many people like to listen. She could, one of the things that she also stated was that she wants to be able to tell the people have the right, but she doesn't know when that time will be able to come out. What's your thoughts on this?
Okay, so we know that Axelrod called together a group of people in Arlington where Hal Puthoff and a bunch of other people we know attended. And they discussed all of this from every angle to decide whether or not they could recommend to the government to start bringing all this stuff out. And they spent 2 days studying the problem, broke into teams. Each of the teams did an up and or down and wrote down why up or why down. Every team said, you can't bring it out yet. And so we don't know the content they were shown, but we know that from Hal Puthoff telling us this story, that they voted no. And so the government has continued to follow their lead.
All right, let's move on to another topic. Sticking with Anna Luna. She has obviously been very vocal since the last hearings that she was very disappointed in what she called people skipping the opportunity to speak because of the skiff flu. It's something that she has never, ever let go of, which I think is kind of cool, And in regards to the skiff flu, for people who are wondering what it is, that's where a number of people, and it's mainly aimed at Lou Elizondo and David Grush, were called to speak into a skiff with many members of Congress and other people to talk about what they know and who they know and what they know regarding UFOs in a skiff box. Bob, before I continue with this, have you ever in your career in intelligence ever had to use a skiff?
Oh, yeah, every day of my life for 3 decades.
Okay, so explain to people what a skiff is and what it's like in there.
Okay, it's a secure, classified information facility. SCIF is the acronym you made from that. And it's where you can talk about classified programs and read classified documents and have classified conversations. And the deal with a skiff is it's cleared, but you and the internal may not be cleared and read into a topic that you want to discuss. So the skiff is cleared, then it has to be certified by the classification officer who controls the classified material for the program you want to work on and discuss. And then your name has to be sworn in with a non-disclosure agreement into what is called a bigot list to be able to talk about that in the skiff that has been added to the clearance for that program. And it's just a very convoluted, crazy thing that the government does to try to keep secret stuff secret.
Okay, so being in one of these, why would somebody go in one of these? What constitutes a conversation in a skiff?
Okay, you want to talk about a specific classified program or classified document or classified material. You are required, it's not you want to, you are required to go into an approved skiff to discuss it. And so then you and whoever goes with you has to be cleared and given need to know for the topic you're going to discuss. That means all the way back to the lawyer who's in charge of the classification has to say it's okay for the two of you to talk. It's that convoluted.
What kind of conversations happen in one of these?
You discuss technical details, operational details, discuss intelligence that's been gathered that is impactful on the things you're working on. You are allowed to see the classified material on the project you're working on and to discuss it with others that are so cleared.
Okay, so one of the things that she was discussing about this was the fact that she believes that many of these UFO people, like David Grush, because I'm trying not to use the term whistleblowers anymore. So these UFO people,
David Grush is one, but most of the others are not.
So you threw me off there for a second.
Yeah, look, they are telling a story, but official blower in the capacity you're using is an official term of government in law. You have to meet certain criteria to be called a whistleblower and given protection. There's legal statutes that govern it. Somebody just blows the whistle and tells everybody stuff has been called a whistleblower. To the government, that is not a whistleblower. That's an illegal dump of classified information.
Okay. So getting to this point, she was very upset with people like Elizondo and Grush missing this important skiff meeting that they were invited to. And Elizondo responded today. I don't know if you saw this.
I didn't see it, but I'm just telling you, I don't even need to be told what he said. She is wrong. And the reason she is wrong is they have signed non-disclosure agreements. And they know from talking to their lawyers that nothing that has been done to date allows them to leave the confines of that non-disclosure agreement. And so they're not going to go to jail just to make her happy.
Elizondo states, after several visits to D.C., and he posted this on X, at the request of members of Congress at my own expense, we were given cancellations at the last minute. After coming back home again, I made it clear the last time that I had a pre-existing commitment. I was given 3 days notice and no guarantees while having committed to speak in Oregon publicly available. Luna knows the truth and we have the emails to prove it. I will chalk this up to her not being informed by her staff and an innocent mistake. I hope. Otherwise, let this be a lesson to future whistleblowers who want congressional protections. This is all about media attention and less about truth. I hope this is not the case. And I suspect Chris Mellon and others at AUAPDF that know the truth. Pardon me?
UAP Disclosure Fund. UAPDF.
Okay. That know the truth may have more to say about this. Tagged at Chris K. Mellon, at Joe Rogan at Real Annapalooza. And then he posted an email saying, "Good afternoon. I sincerely apologize for the late notice, but due to the ever flux in congressional schedule and some conflicts, we need to shift the non-governmental briefing to the week of May 12th. We will reach back out with a new date that will hopefully work for everyone. Looking forward to seeing you all on Thursday. Best, Mitch." Then someone named Guthrie Dillon, or Dylan Guthrie, sent that from to Mitchell and listed the names that were supposed to be on there. Mitchell Benzine, Christian William, Jim Belay, Kyle McKay, Jake Greenberg, Clark Aberisk, David Grush. And then at the SA, this email was then CC'd SAA House Security Office, Olivia Hill, Luis Elizondo, Chris Mellon, Eric Davis, Tim Gallaudet.
Yep.
Well, there's got to be more of a response than "yep."
Well, what can I say? It's the people that don't live in the classified world every day for their job, they can't be expected to remember every detail. And Luna and a bunch of these other people just do not stand the interlocking set of constraints all these people have on them. And they want to hear, and they can't be told by people who don't want to go to jail for telling them. I mean, I'm telling you, it's horrible, but the Congress won't pass the law that makes them able to. They have not passed the law that clears them to talk.
Which is a little weird because after this, David Grush became an advisor to Tim Burleson.
Yeah, I mean, he can talk to Tim in the privacy of his office and say unclassified things that he's been told not to talk about to Tim because Tim pays his salary. That's a standard thing for staffers to tell their Congress critters stuff. He can go into a skiff and talk about those things for which he has received okay from the classification officer to talk about.
Basically, it just seems like a giant he said, she said argument.
On the outside, it is. By these people that have the secrets, they're protecting their livelihoods. And living up to their oaths. People just cannot expect these people to go to jail to satisfy their curiosity. They got to grow up.
So, if that's the case, which I believe it is, okay, it really shows a real lack of communication between both sides, or it shows the absolute inability for anybody to actually be able to talk about whatever the truth is.
No president has wanted this stuff to come out, or it would happen instantly. A president is the final authority. And the president can say, it's okay for the purposes of this discussion, for the time they're in the skiff, this is unclassified. Put it down in writing, and he can tell everything he wants if the president of the United States would okay it. But they want control of all this secrecy to the level they are allowed in the National Security Council. But they can make it happen instantaneously if they wanted to. The president is the final classifying authority, period.
When we return with Science Bob here, Dr. Bob McGwier on Science Bob and Friends, in hour 2, we're going to get into a couple of big topics. What are those? Well, let's tell you here momentarily. How about potential new hearings? How about Gary Nolan confirming analysis of non-Earth material? Arrow and the Schumer reintroduction of UFO Disclosure. Spaced Out is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, we're clear. Hypersonic.
Yeah, let me congratulate you quickly. Whatever the truly ugly audio problem you have is fixed.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Hypersonic, how are you? I hope we're going to be normal today. I'm really hoping. Peppa H, nice to see you. Let's see. Luscious Jules, nice to have you here. Yeah, you should see I got my new mixing board.
It's fantastic.
Well, I'm going to be hooking that up soon because we're redoing the studio. But Science Bob, I'm going to step away. Do you want to stay on camera and chat with the people, or do you want to go in the green room?
Yeah.
Okay, be right back. You guys chat with Science Bob.
Thanks, Jewel. Jeremy Moneypenny is a former BBC correspondent. She's fairly well known in England, but she is very opinionated. Consequently, well, I don't think we know all their motives. We don't know what they're all about. And until the secrecy ends, we're not likely to find out. Hey, JSCO 77. I've had a regression and it was good for me. I don't claim it's good for everybody, but mine was good for me. I learned stuff. Hey, we'll ruin a farm. Yeah, it was interesting. Tim has some interesting guests on, and he is really, really trying to push the edgy physics to try to get enough out that we can see our way clear to inexpensive free energy, transportation, etc. Spider Grandmother, that's because we have exercised a lot of control, and part of the control group, which I'll call Zodiac, contains members that sit in those countries. And
we got 1 minute, Bob. 1 minute. All right. Let us say quickly here hello to Spider Grandmother. Thanks for coming on in. Paul Scott, welcome to SOR Chat. Who else has joined us here? Mr. Cowley, how you doing, buddy? Let's see who else is joining us. I think we're caught up. Big thank you tonight to birthday girl Michelle ×2, JSCO Pam, Dutch Hank, Science Bob, and Cat Chaser for the amazing super chats. We really appreciate your love and support. Super Crazy, how are you? Good to see you tonight as well. And of course, you can join our membership. You're going to get a heads-up viewing of a next video of Secrets of the Forest. You got to be a member to do that. And of course, shop at our store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so check it on out. Here we go. Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. As we prepare for more Science Bob in hour number 2. Hi to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. He's our resident scientist, Dr. Bob McGwier. We call him Science Bob around these parts, and we're glad to have him here once again. Science Bob, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Very happy to be here.
We're glad you are here as well. Chuck Schumer making some news.
Oui.
He's going to, now that Mike Turner is no longer the leader of the Gang of Eight, Chuck Schumer thinks this is probably the best time ever to be able to pass, again, the UAP Disclosure Act. Your thoughts on this?
Well, he's still got a congressman from Alabama who is the chairman of the Armed Services Committee, and that person can get in the way. Let's just see what happens. But it's going to be done in what's called the reconciliation process again. So the Senate has a bill, the House has the bill. Oops, they don't agree. They come together in a conference and agree on the final language, vote it up or down, and then it goes back to both chambers. They vote on it, and the president signs it. So we're here with two different versions. They have to go to conference, and then we'll get the NDAA after the conference. Let's hope the language is in there.
Mike Turner, the representative from Ohio, who has, the senator from Ohio, who has always been a congressman, pardon me, thank you, who has always been a thorn in the side of this Disclosure Act. He's known, along with many others, to whitewash it, basically making it a vanilla statement inside the budget the last couple of years to upset many people who were hoping for some sort of budgetary advancement to study the UFO/UAP technology and what is truly going on. His representation was.
I have an opinion.
I'm going to get that to you.
So that part of the UAP Disclosure Act passed. It said no one in the government may spend a dime on UFO, UAP, whatever you want to call it, stuff without coming and getting proper oversight from Congress. And so that ended forever any illegal spending, unless they don't want to follow the law, which they haven't been doing since Roswell, so maybe they're still not.
Well, I guess the point that I'm getting at is Turner was the representative for his jurisdiction in Ohio that literally had 50,000 plus employees at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yep.
And Wright-Patterson Air Force Base has been highly controversial on the UFO subject because going back to 1947, it was believed that's where the Roswell crash debris was originally taken to before it was moved to Area 51. Now, obviously, there's a lot of secrets being kept at Wright-Pat. And do you think that he had been looking out for his own business and his own constituents and created a bias over that?
Well, not only that, he was the king. He was chairman on the House Select Committee for Intelligence. That part of the NDAA cannot pass without his approval. He vetoed it with Rogers of Alabama, who was the chair of the House Armed Services Committee. The two of them got in the way, and they are kings. Their committees can't even vote without their permission on anything. And so they got in the way and stopped it.
So now that he is out of the picture of the Gang of Eight, how much do you think this will go towards getting this passed?
A major portion of the way. But it depends on how much pressure is brought by the secret keepers and the DOD and the intelligence community and the corporations that have got all these materials, how much they put pressure on members of Congress. We'll see.
Who do you think, if this passes budget, who do you think gets the money?
Well, the Congress is forbidden from spending money on UAP until they come in and open kimono and tell the truth. So there is no money to be spent. The UAP Disclosure Act that was passed 2 years ago is a money-saving thing because it ended the expenditures of taxpayer dollars.
Okay. So you don't see any money actually going and being funneled to research this project?
I don't say that. So I think that if the UAP Disclosure Act, with the terms that the senators want in it, gets passed and signed by President Trump, then NRO can be directed outside of the Pentagon to do some things. Now, look, a mistake was made. You put the fox in charge of guarding the hen house, which is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Secretary of Defense's office controls NRO, and they won't let them talk, won't let them say anything, won't let them show us evidence. Look, what is NRO actually doing? It's telling us things that they resolved. What does that mean? They've resolved them as we know what this is and it's man-made, or we don't know what this balloon-looking thing called a aluminum orb is. But they've not shown a single really anomalous craft because they've been told they cannot until they've, quote, resolved it. That means they have to figure out what planet or dimension it's from and how it works before they can tell us about it. NRO is hamstrung by the Pentagon.
So do you think then that there is absolutely no way of that even passing through budget?
Oh, no, it'll pass. If it passes, that's the end of that practice. In other words, I believe that the FBI is going to be unleashed. Because look, people don't get is the CIA cannot be in charge of UFOs inside the United States. They are not legally allowed to operate in the United States without the FBI. The FBI can do what it wants to in the United States. And they have been clearly investigating UFOs for a while because the Congress went to the FBI and got a briefing, and they were wowed. These pictures that Luna talked about, she was shown them by the FBI.
Okay. So as we move forward, where do you see this going?
It depends on how Trump and the National Security Council wants to handle it within the confines of the law. So right now, NRO is captured by the Director of National Intelligence and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Secretary of Defense. They're captured. They need to be independent. And good science and engineering needs to be done without their veto.
What was your thoughts, changing topics here, of the Sky Canada report coming out by Dr. Mona Niemer? Basically,
I thought it was interesting, and it bears a lot of looking into. And I hope you Canadians and others look into it a lot.
Do you think it's going to make progression in the subject?
I hope it will in Canada. I really do. Look, the United States has stepped on its allies in NATO and the Five Eyes necks and not allowed them to talk. And I hope that this comes to an end with the new NDAA and a new willingness to be more open. Look, Dave, there is nothing worse right now than the complete and utter lack of faith by every political party in their government. We have to fix this. The government has to stop lying to the world.
With the Sky Canada project, one of the things that they were stating is that, they're not sure what it is, but they don't recognize that there is any type of threat in the system so far regarding this entire subject matter, but they don't know or have any answers as to what it is. I mean, they were a little bit vague, and that they were vague to the point where they said that they don't really want to go down the woo side of everything. They're trying very much to keep it, how can I put it, nuts and bolts on everything. So just your thoughts on that, because in my opinion regarding this, I tend to think that this entire subject matter regarding this would be, they are very much willing to talk nuts and bolts, kind of where the United States was 7-8 years ago when the New York Times article came out. That would make me feel that Canada is about 7 to 8 years behind where the U.S. is on their own disclosure movement. It's a start, but it doesn't seem to have any political backing either.
Well, the thing that's so amazing to me is Grant Cameron, of all people, knows how much people inside the Canadian government from the 50s on knew about what's going on. And members of Majestic 12, or whatever you want to call them, who talked to Grant Cameron, told him, well, what do you know about Psi and ESP and that kind of stuff? And he said, at the time, he was nuts and bolts, and he says he didn't know. And he says, well, if you don't know that, you'll never have anything to do with this because you're never really allowed inside. So what this tells you is they have known for a long time that the woo and what the experiencers can tell them informs them of what the phenomenon is. You know this, and I know this, because we have experiencer friends who have been brought in to see if they can fly the craft, if they can interact with their tech, which is interacted with telepathically.
Which is what groups like Skywatcher, which you're a part of, are looking into.
Exactly. Skywatcher is definitely now trying to leave old dog whistle behind, and psionics or CE5 or whatever you want to call it be the way they interact with the non-human intelligence. They want it to be restricted to that.
Do you think then that we are at a precipice of this subject matter, whether it's in Canada or the United States, where this subject is either going to blow up for the good or blow up for the bad?
I don't know which way it'll go. Right now, I don't know which way it'll go. We have to see how things go.
Because last time when you were on the show, you stated that you believed disclosure was dead.
I believe government disclosure is now and always will be ultimately useless. We need people who are independent and objective to work on it.
Let's move on to another topic here. Sticking with Wright-Patterson about a UFO incident with a cube-shaped object.
Wasn't that amazing? Not only that, it was in an official government document.
Fill us in on this.
Okay, so John is continued to do the right thing with the Black Vault and do FOIA, different search terms, et cetera, and he got a document that showed that the Air Force and others had lied about everything that happened over Wright-Pat, and they actually saw a UFO interact what looked like a mothership that was bringing these drones out, operating over Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And I don't know all the details, but I know what we have seen. People can go look at it at the Black Vault, and it's really interesting. Enough stuff was unredacted to make it one of the most unbelievable UFO documents ever released.
What caught your attention about it?
That they were caught lying, and that there was an actual craft, and they didn't know what the drones were. They shut down the home port Air Force Base for the entire United States Air Force because they couldn't figure out what was going on. They were lost. They shut the operations down. Can you even imagine? That is the home of the Air Force shut down for UFOs. Totally admitted to in that document.
It's kind of scary, isn't it?
That's very scary. And the home of the most advanced fighter jet in the world, the F-22, shut that air base down for almost 2 weeks because they could not gain control over their own airspace.
For people wondering what's going on, what do you think happened there?
Some kind of craft came in and showed us that they were here. It was hey, we're here. And the government managed to do a pretty good job of covering up that it was weird. Everybody knows they were lied to. I mean, even Trump said the FAA says it's our drones and it was okay, when we know from these documents that it was not our drones and it's not okay, and we don't know what it is or where it came from, how it got here, who sent it here. I'm telling you, I believe the government does not know what was flying over the air base in Virginia, Wright-Patterson in Ohio, and over the state of New Jersey and Picatinny Arsenal. They don't know. And they're not in control.
It's kind of scary to think.
It's part of why they don't want to talk about it. They have to admit they do not control our airspace.
Let's move on to another topic here, Bob, as we got about 4 minutes to go before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Talk about Gary Nolan. He is all over the map lately when it comes to this subject.
Yeah.
What's your
And
thoughts?
he is really pulling out all the levers on this stuff is real. Just get over it. I mean, he literally is. And he's talking about materials that he has tested. And some of it is manufactured by a method we do not understand.
Why does every UFO group, or almost every UFO group, seem to have Gary Nolan on their list of directors?
I think a lot of them believe that he is like the leading voice for science in all of this. The part that needs further explanation to me is his introduction to all of this and his interaction with this topic and how he got to be in American Cosmic way back then. Was he had worked with Kit Green a lot on problems of Havana syndrome, and he discovered with Kit the caudate putamen enhancement that allows people to have abilities more easily. He has definitely worked for the government, and he seems to be sitting right on the edge. And a lot of people want his influence because he's a big name in science. Look, he is a huge name in medical science. Between the first mapping of the human genome and CRISPR-Cas9 editing the human genome at multiple places, he has a patent which formed a company that he made a lot of money on every one of those, allowing CRISPR-Cas9 to be invented. He should have won the Nobel Prize in medicine multiple times.
A lot of people are saying that these groups have to have Gary Nolan on because Gary Nolan is bought and paid for.
I don't know if that's overt, but it might be a covert truth. But they may not know, because I doubt he admits it if it's true. But he's not making a secret of the fact that he was asked to and work for Kit Green and the CIA and others in the government on certain topics, and that he's been told things for which he had to sign a non-disclosure agreement and can't comment any further. Now, a lot of materials he's working with now he got from Jacques Vallée, who went across the world collecting them.
Do you think Gary Nolan, let me rephrase that with 1 minute to go here. I had a conversation with somebody recently who said that Gary Nolan, bless his heart, had originally started with the extremely right intentions on this entire subject, trying to learn about humans and ETs and the connection between the two, so on and so forth. And now that person believes that Nolan has kind of, danced with the devil one too many times and is now a government shill on this entire project.
I do not personally believe he's a government shill. I believe that he and his group do in fact have contracts with the government, and that will exert controls.
Right.
But I don't believe he's a government shill.
And thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Bob, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We are going to...
But I'm sorry, one thing. I do have to say that he and I are peers in Skywatcher.
Yes. We're going to break. Science Bob and Friends continues for the next half hour right after this. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott. Hey, Bob, just chat with the audience here for a minute. I got to run and try and find some Tums or something, okay?
Sure.
Be right back. All right, Science Bob. Sorry about that. Hold on, my dad is calling in. Hold on. My dad. How come I can't get on and find your site? Go on YouTube. Jesus, go on. Are you there, Science Bob?
Yeah, what's up?
I was just chatting with you there.
I was writing somebody in the chat room.
Oh, Juliana, how are you? Did you ever get your bottle of abduction whiskey? Boy, Science Bob left quickly. Dookie Pickles on X, how are you? Right there. Shameless plug for Ryan at Abduction Whiskey. Head on over to abductionwhiskey.com. Get yours. 45%.
I see you're like me. You haven't cracked the top.
No, I've got 3 bottles of this. 3 bottles. I got to talk to Ryan. We got to do a promo.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We got a minute and...
Please notice mine is still sealed.
Yeah, mine too. I love the fact that he uses a cork and not a screw top.
Me too. I'm a cork bigot.
You notice if you look inside the bottle, there's actually an abduction taking place on the back of the label. But Science Bob, you need one of these.
Oh, yeah. I need a cruet just like that.
There we go. I don't know if my old man's watching right now or not, but he's a weirdo. Oh, for God's sakes, just stay up there. There we go. All right, thank you tonight to Michelle ×2, Pam, Dutch Hank, Science Bob, and Cat Chaser, JSCO, for the super chats. Greatly appreciate the love. Don't forget to shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out. And here we go. Here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Good to have you with us as we are cruising along with Science Bob, Dr. Bob McGwier, on Science Bob and Friends. Hey, we want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, our archives are always free. Why are they free? Because I want them that way, darn it. I want them that way for all of you to check on out anytime, anywhere around the world. All right. I forget what I'm saying. You know why? I'm panicking here right now.
What?
Live radio, and I'm panicking. Why? Because I know my father is listening. And it's like, oh my God, my dad is listening. And now he's going to critique me. And the reason why he's listening is because the new lady in his life is listening with him.
All right.
When you get a pair of Ukrainians going at it like that, you know, listening to some weird stuff, probably over a peach schnapps, you get a little bit intimidated. So, anyways, our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Let's go back to Dr. Bob McGwier. He doesn't make me nervous. No, Science Bob's good people. He really is, and he knows his stuff. He's our resident scientist here on Spaced Out Radio, formerly of the CIA, formerly of the NRO, formerly of Virginia Tech University, and he refuses to admit he's retired. Refuses to admit it. Bob, welcome back.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm leaving retirement as fast as I can. I'm bored.
Come up to Flight 21. That's all I'm saying. The door's open. Come check it on out.
I'm going to work that out with you. I guarantee it.
You better. You better. All right, Bob. I got a question from Little Timmy James for you, our UFO reporter. He wants me to ask you about Skywatchers reportedly signing non-disclosure agreements. Does this mean, if this is true, the mission for transparency is over?
No. Those people who go out on the range and help collect video and other data are required to sign an agreement, which is really quite extensive. And it covers a couple of things. Don't tell people how the dog whistle works. And even if you are attacked by the non-human intelligence, you will stand down. It's pretty tough.
It is pretty tough. I mean, we also have to remember, too, and we may not like it, okay? We may not like it. But the big thing that we need to remember is Skywatcher is not part of the UFO community. They are their own entity. They are doing their own thing, and they're allowed to do that. We may not like it because we're looking for that next action hero.
Yep.
And look, I don't like it any more than you do. But they're allowed to do this. They're allowed to go down their own road. They're allowed to create a company. They're allowed to make money off of this. They're allowed to do their own research and not report to people like me or you or anybody like that who wants to know more about what we're doing. We want to know because we're nosy. We want to know because we want answers. And we have these brilliant people who are out there who are like, well, you know, so you want the answers. That sucks to be you. And they're allowed to do that, Bob.
They are.
How do
They've
we
made some,
find the happy medium?
they've
How do we
made some, they've made some promises, and they need to keep them, or announce that for business reasons they no longer can. I mean, they just need to operate ethically. And to my best ability to know, they are operating ethically.
Oh man. Okay. So, do we ever expect something from them to come out publicly? Will they ever release a report like Sky Canada or other groups have released reports?
I think that they will. Okay, so look, one thing that I know Gary Nolan is in charge of is distribution of scientific data that will be used in a peer-reviewed journal paper will not be distributed until the journal paper is accepted. That is the rules in science. He is forcing the team to follow the rules of science, which is you don't talk about the data and show it until it is put in a box and a lock on it, and only other scientists can open the lock freely and get at the data and do whatever they want to with it. But you have to have all of that sequestered from the world until your paper is accepted. That's the rules of science. And this aggravates people to death because they want to know yesterday.
Of course they do. I mean, people are literally hungry for answers.
I totally agree.
For many
They've been
people,
lied to for 80 years.
Absolutely. And you can't blame the people for wanting those answers.
I don't blame them. I don't think it's helpful to be nasty to those people who are trying to do stuff, operating within the rules. And they are privately funded. This is not public money. And the facts are 5 years of data while they were working on other things led to the formation of Skywatch, because it was a serendipitous discovery that the dog whistle worked.
For people who don't know what the dog whistle is, explain that.
It is a method that they have used successfully, that when it is exercised, they claim 100% of the time a craft shows up. That's their claim.
Why do they call it a dog whistle? Is it an actual dog whistle?
It's analog. It's an analog thing, electromechanical. And so it's like something blowing a whistle, except it's the equivalent of a supersonic whistle. It's the equivalent of that. It's not a whistle, but it's the equivalent of that. And they want to replace that with psionics, because you got to work for 2 years to be able to do that. And they don't want people taking the dog whistle and going out calling craft down and killing the occupants and stealing the craft. They don't want people abusing the dog whistle. And we know from Barber and others that they fought a gun battle with people that were trying to steal the stuff from them. They're doing what they need to do to protect this, and they should. They should be ethical. They should be conscientious. They should be truthful. They should not lie. They should do what they say they're going to do, or tell people why they can't.
Let's go to Derek. Science Bob, do you believe Jake Barber truly was intentionally sent in to bring disinformation in the UFO communities by government agencies?
I absolutely believe it 100%.
Really?
And I believe that Michael Herrera interacting with Jake Barber at Stephen Greer's deal, where all of this, what he's talking about, happened, is the thing that changed Jake Barber's mind into getting in with the Skywatcher group. It changed his mind. People should go look at Michael Herrera's story because it's just true.
I want to ask you, there was on X just the other day, there was a woman named Moneypenny at Nick_Moneypenny on X made a threat this past weekend to Ross Coulthard, investigative journalist for News Nation on the UFO subject, where she basically called Ross Coulthard out, stating that she wanted answers and she was giving him a 3-hour time limit before she was going to expose what she knew. And what was this all about? Well, about a year and a half ago, Ross came out stating that there was a giant UFO so big that they had to build a base around it or some sort of building around it in order to cover it up. Now, this Moneypenny lady gave Ross a 3-hour window to respond to her as to why she should not give up the location of where this is, because Ross was the one teasing the UFO public that he knew of this location but could not say where it was. Well, she came out with it. Seems to be in Nebraska at an Air Force base. But before she came out with it, Ross responded online, giving her the big public verbal middle finger and telling her to pound sand. What do you think about all this?
Well, Moneypenny is a former BBC reporter. And she has journalistic chops. I don't know if she has a journalism degree, but she did work professionally as a journalist. But she is into the woo and the strange science. She's big time into it. I've interacted with her a lot on X. And I don't know how she came by this. I don't know where she got it. I don't know what her sources are because she hasn't told us anything. So she claims it's there, and Ross won't have anything to do with it.
Do you think it was right or wrong for her to put that pressure on Ross?
Well, the way you delivered it, in my opinion, is not how she stated it. So she said, Ross, if you know a reason for national security or whatever, why I shouldn't tell this stuff, let me know. I don't like the way she did it, but she said what I said.
Well, let's. I'm going to try and play this for our audience here, okay? So that way they can hear this, because I know there's not going to be any copyright on it, so I can kind of get away with it here. But let's play this because I do think it's important here. Is that the screen or is that the screen? Nope, that's the screen right there. So let's play this. And I'm going to turn the volume up, so make sure that everybody can hear it. And tell me if you can hear this.
Hi, this is Moneypenny. This is a message to Ross Coulthard. You have 3 hours from now to contact me, and you have my contact details. We've spoken before. To be able to stop me revealing where a giant UFO, a huge giant UFO, is underneath a massive high security building. And now I have the evidence. And I'm going to release it in 3 hours' time, unless you contact me and tell me there is a very important national security issue that would stop me. Because I believe, in the interests of disclosure and of everybody who has been struggling with deception and secrets for far too long, that we have a right to know this. You told us about it more than 2 years ago. It's about time people knew the truth. 3 hours, counting. Speak to you soon, Ross.
There we go, Science Bob.
Hi, this is Moneypenny. This is a message to Ross.
So There we go. Your thoughts on that?
I don't like the way she did it, but she said what I said. If you know a national security reason that you can share with me that will prevent me from doing this, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to do it. And she did it.
I'm going to tell you from my journalistic point of view, I think they're both right. Ross can't give up the story.
Because he had a source that he guaranteed he wouldn't.
Bingo. Okay. But number two, she also had the right to call him out on that because Ross should have never teased the UFO public about it. And that's what he did.
I think he regrets it. I've heard him say
I agree with you.
He regretted it.
I agree with you on that. And I do believe he did regret what's going on with that. You know, but just the idea, though, that happened publicly, I would like to know a few more things. And I'm going to try and get her on the show. I am going to try and get, because I'm interested now. She threw the hook in, and I took the bait. I really did. You know, and I want to know what led to that. Did they have any conversations? Was Ross not responding to her in private DMs or emails or phone calls? Because unfortunately for Ross, he is so busy, he does have a habit of that. I know that because he's told me when we have chatted.
Let's answer Super Crazy Movie Geek's question.
Well, we'll get to that in just a second here, because I will get to that. But just overall thoughts, I think they were both in the right.
I do
and
too.
in the wrong. And
I think each of them followed their own ethical path.
All right, let's go to Super Crazy. What do you think of Dr. Beatrice Villarreal's findings that seems to be evidence of artificial objects in geosynchronous orbit? I can't believe I just pronounced that correctly. Or on photographic plates before humans started launching satellites?
Beatrice and we interact all the time on X. She is a brilliant scientist. She is doing great work. And I believe every word she says because she's published this in a peer-reviewed journal and had to defend it to the editors. So I believe her. This is the woman that discovered the stars that vanished on plates a few months ago with no explanation for why they vanished. And so she kept looking and found these and she found it where they're in sunlight, and if they go into the shadow, they disappear. She's got all the evidence she needs to draw a scientific conclusion. That she doesn't know where they're from, but she knows they're satellites.
The one thing I like about Beatrice Villarreal's study here, and Bob, maybe you'll agree with me, maybe you won't. But the one thing that I've learned about her is, as far as I can see on the front, there is no agenda here. It's about conducting proper science about whether or not there is life out there and whether or not it is visiting us. I think she, in my opinion, is one of the top 5 scientists, maybe top 10 scientists that are looking into this worldwide. And
I agree with that completely. She's in the top 5.
Yeah. And this is a name where I think we are going to see if this story ever comes out, we are going to see her name at the top in the first couple paragraphs of that dissertation. I think she's brilliant. I really do. Beatrice, that's Batriz, or Z for you Americans. Villa, Villarroel. Beatrice Villarreal. Follow her.
She's brilliant. So people can go watch the Soul Foundation YouTube presentations and see Beatrice. And she's all over YouTube being interviewed. And she went to off the coast of Europe and looked for that weird UFO shaped object, and we have not heard the details yet. So I'm waiting on that too.
4 minutes to go here, Science Bob. I'm just going to hit you bluntly with this one. Do you think that object, A3 Atlas or I3 Atlas, is a UFO, or do you think it's space debris?
I haven't seen anything yet that lets me believe it's a UFO. I've seen stuff that lets me believe it's not a comet of the type we normally see, which is a dirty ice ball. But I haven't seen any evidence yet that it's accelerating. It's changing its trajectory. And for me to believe it's a craft, it would have to change its trajectory.
What are some of the things that would lead people to believe that this may be a craft of some sort? Because Avi Loeb from Harvard University tends to believe there is something strange about it.
Yeah, and I just think it's not. It looks like it's outgassing in a weird way, but until it does something that requires intelligent action through an engineering principle, you can't claim it's artificial.
Where do you think this came from?
Oh, it definitely came from outside of the solar system because it's on a hyperbolic orbit. That means it's too fast to have ever orbited the sun. And we know from, you can go read, what part of the sky it came from, what constellation it came from. We know all that. Just go read about it and you'll find out. I forgot where it is.
What would it mean hypothetically, Bob, if this was some sort of UFO, maybe some discovery type craft from a different civilization?
I want to encourage people to go to understand what it would mean to be somebody like me and others. Go read Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke. It is a book, science fiction book, written by a brilliant scientist of exactly such a thing as you're talking about. A craft came from outside, and we went out and looked at it. And it's a great book. And it captures the spirit of what I believe would happen if such a thing came through and interacted with us.
Would you be excited?
Oh, it's beyond belief. Yes.
For I3 Atlas, are we going to be able to see this with our naked eye as it gets closer to Earth come November?
I don't think so. I think James Webb Space Telescope will be able to image it.
How about your own personal $1 trillion space technology that you have in your yard?
I can see the comet, but I can't resolve features on it because my telescope's not big enough. It's a very expensive telescope for an amateur. It is not a professional instrument.
I know, but I was building you up for suspense there, Bob, and you bailed on me. Thank you for that.
I got to keep it real with my peeps.
Very true. 25 seconds. Tell us where they can find your podcast, Orbis Paranormal.
Orbis Paranormal is on YouTube and everything else. 8 different streamings on Tuesday nights and sometimes Wednesday and Thursdays. We're in a little bit of a hiatus because of how hard Lala's working, but we'll be back with shows. And we've had some great shows.
Yeah, you have. Science Bob, we'll talk to you next month, my friend. Thank you for another great show. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio to kick off hour number 3, we'll have Swamp Dweller. Then after that, it will be the UFO Report with Little Timmy James. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right. Good night, Jules, Wiruna, Hank, everybody. Good to see you tonight. Dave, it was fun.
Appreciate you, buddy. And thank you
care.
for taking my
Good
call
night,
earlier.
everybody.
Okay? All right. Take care. Science Bob, everybody. We love him. I'll be right back. All right. Let's bring in little Timmy James.
What's happening?
Not much. Got a little nervous there when my old man popped in.
No doubt.
Let me know that he was listening. I'm like, oh, for God's sakes.
Phoned you in the middle of the show. Where do I find you?
Right?
That's funny. Gotta love Pops.
Oh, yeah, he's a good dude. Hopefully he's coming up next week.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. It's funny. He wants to go out to Flight 21, but he's absolutely petrified.
Oh, he wants to do the night one?
Yeah, he's... I think it'd be good for him. I do. I think it'd be good for him.
Put hair on his chest.
Oh, yeah. Big thank you tonight to Vaughn Patrick, Michelle ×2, Dutch Hank, JSCO, Pam, Cat Chaser, Science Bob for the great super chats. Thank you for the love. Remember, we are loading up the next episode of Secrets of the Forest, and if you're a member of our YouTube chat, you're going to be able to actually see that before anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You will be. Mm-hmm. You get first look. That's what we're going to do. 3 seconds. Here we go. Hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in as we prepare for Swamp Dweller and Little Timmy James with the UFO Report. And, of course, we want to say hello to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Dacnomania. Dacnomania is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as a clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. These occurrences take place in my new home in South Carolina. For some backstory, it was the year 2006 when I moved into my current home. I used to be an avid outdoorsman. I used to, anyway. Yesterday, while out on one of my daily hikes during the evening, I found an old, rotting note. After reading this note, I highly doubt I'll be back to those woods for a long while. The note read, I was out with a few friends for a get-together for a friend of mine. He was going to leave for college in a week, so everyone wanted him to go out with a bang. We were having this get-together in some private property that one of my friends, my few friends were Brandon, Kyle, Alfred, and myself, we used this property to drive around the ATVs and dirt bikes we owned. We drank for a while quite carelessly. Eventually, one of us had the idiotic idea to ride our ATVs around to make the effects of being heavily intoxicated even more extreme. I sluggishly went along. Someone had to be able to watch and make sure nothing happened to them. But it had to be me. I had drunk the second least to Brandon. I was basically completely sober. As we drove further, a sound that I could not describe to this day began to become more prevalent as we went further into the woods. The sound became so overpowering at one point that it covered up the loud noise of our bikes. Eventually, we were all on the ground screaming and covering our ears in pain and torment. No matter which direction we ran, even out of the woods, the sound would still grow louder. At this point, the sound became clear to me that it was most likely a scream. Then I saw something that I will never forget. I saw these, what I can only describe as animals. They looked like pale, light gray humanoid type creatures. They had to have stood at least 4 feet at the shoulder. Their heads had borne the charges of dogs, but the teeth were tiny, blood-red knives. The screaming noise had ceased to stop. Then, there was one creature that stood out from the other 8. This one stood about 6 feet tall at the shoulder. He had a much more muscular build than the others, who looked malnourished. His mouth was wide open, still bearing those sharp, long needle-like teeth. But the biggest one, which I supposed was the leader, made a different noise. I could only describe this noise as a clicking noise. It may be necessary to mention that I have the most powerful build of all 4 of us. After my friend had been dragged away so inhumanly fast, I couldn't run that fast if my life depended on it, but at this point it did. But while my friends and I were being dragged away, I realized something. The screaming had stopped. After about 2 or 3 miles, there was a pit of bones from different animals, but the most common were human bones. The stench was so nerve-wracking that I eventually passed out. When I woke up, my friends were already dead. After seeing the bodies of my friends being eaten by the creatures, I will never be the same. The screaming stopped when the animals had something in their mouths. The screaming almost drove me insane. I resorted to feeding the creatures. All my family, friends, and pets, all the people I know are gone. My family, friends, and even my pets are gone. I think the police are beginning to understand what is going on now. They've been showing up at my house more and more lately. The screaming won't stop. I have nothing to feed them except for myself. This is my suicide letter before I jump into the place where I keep the creatures away from all society. Anyone who finds this note, please drop the note now and run. I don't want anyone else to suffer my fate. Now, for whatever reason, I believe that this note is truly genuine more and more by day. A strange screaming noise has been coming closer to my home every night that I keep hearing. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to live here. Every night they just get a little bit closer and a little bit closer. With my trusty revolver at my side tonight, I will most likely not be able to sleep. The sounds that I hear at night freak me out so bad that I can't sleep, and I have to somehow find some sort of prescription drug to make it work. I could hear a scratching noise at my door recently. I'm hoping that things are gonna improve before I get out of here, or hopefully at least hold off until I move. I plan to move back in with my parents in a few days' time. Wish me luck, because I sure as hell am gonna need it. Like I said, when I first found that note, I thought it was just some sort of short, scary story, maybe something that somebody had put there to scare people. But after I'm starting to experience these things myself, this story is starting to seem a little bit more real.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell, and you got major stories there all night long. Here we go with the UFO report.
That is an interplanetary flying space saucer. You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed.
Little Timmy James here for the UFO report. And Tim, it's always good to have you on the air with us. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me back.
Well, I prefer when you're in studio, but that's just me. I'm greedy that way. I'm a greedy guy. Before we get into the UFO report, did you get an opportunity to hear Science Bob right off the bat when we were talking about the lack of oxygen in the forest that you and I experienced at Flight 21?
I did so. And the thing that I guess that caught my attention. I mean, obviously he says there's nothing scientific that he can think of that would do that, but maybe we stepped into a portal or whatever. That kind of grabbed me by the back of the head a little bit. And I was like, hey, maybe that might be something to look into, but it's indescribable. But because like you said, man, I could have just curled up and, this is wonderful, and just taken a nap. It was so strange, right?
It was completely strange. And, I don't know if I want to experience that part again. Not that it was scary, but just the idea that being in the middle of the forest, like knowing that trees produce oxygen, and there seems to be lack thereof. I don't know what was causing that. I mean, it's easy to go down the woo road that, that Robin Haynes laid out by saying, well, the Sasquatch have the ability to do that when you're in your area. They can manipulate things.
Right.
I want to believe that. The woo side of me says, okay, there's some possibility there.
Absolutely.
But when you're not seeing that, it is something that kind of trips you out a little bit, man.
Yeah, just a bit. And like you say, there wasn't anything. It wasn't scary or anything. It was just, completely different. And I would say, I can say for myself, I felt like I wasn't in control. And I mean, not at a completely far out there, but it just felt like, I wasn't in control being there. And man, it was weird. It was weird. And if I experienced it again, I definitely know that, we just got to take about 50 steps backwards and we're okay. But yeah, I don't get it.
Well, the good news is the weather looks like it's starting to break.
Mm.
We were expecting rain for Saturday when we're back out there.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I think we're going to be okay.
Well, it's going to be what it's going to be. That's it. We're just going to have to,
that right.
Yeah, adapt to whatever gets thrown at us, I suppose.
For sure. What do you got for us in the UFO report?
Well, let's see here. So, in a new development within the UFO disclosure community, former defense officials Chris Mellon and Lou Elizondo have reportedly been tracking communications involving the FBI through unofficial channels. Sources familiar with the matter indicate that Mellon and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense and Elizondo, who's previously led the Pentagon's ATIP program, are monitoring interactions between UFO researchers, whistleblowers, and federal authorities. Their efforts focus on identifying who is sharing sensitive information with the FBI regarding UFO incidents and related government activities. The pair's actions stem from their ongoing push for transparency about UFOs, driven by concerns that critical data is being withheld or mishandled by federal agencies. Insiders suggest Mellon and Elizondo are leveraging their extensive networks to trace these back-channel exchanges, aiming to understand the scope of FBI involvement in UFO investigations. The development comes amid growing public interest in unexplained aerial sightings and increasing scrutiny of government response to such phenomena. Critics within the disclosure movement have raised questions, as always, about the motives behind Mellon and Elizondo's monitoring, with some accusing them of overstepping their roles. Others argue their actions are a necessary response to perceived obstructions in the flow of accurate information. Neither Mellon nor Elizondo has publicly commented on these activities, leaving observers to speculate about the broader implications for UFO research and government accountability. The situation remains fluid as the UFO community awaits further clarification on the extent and impact of these behind-the-scenes efforts. I was like, okay. I was kind of hidden away on a B-roll, but I was like, So I did some research.
That is interesting.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research, and it isn't made up. There are some confirmations that, this is happening. So
basically, they're going the roundabout way to try and get more information to push their disclosure movement.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it.
The one thing that I have learned when you're dealing with people who are bigger and more powerful than you, if you try and back channel things, it usually ends up biting you in the butt.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, maybe with their status and their resumes, maybe the bite won't be so hard if it's out in the open and they're I guess, Elizondo, they're not talking about it, but it's out in the news now. I don't think they're too overly concerned about it, but I agree with you.
What's your thoughts about his email in response to Anna Paulina Luna's comment about the skiff flu?
I was wondering about that too, because I read that this afternoon and I was like, So I saw the email and then read his. Well, at first it was undisclosed and it was a private person that didn't want to say anything, and then it ended up being Lou in the end. But yeah, I was pretty I thought, okay, so he's wanted to come out there. He's wanted to do this. He's been asked and invited. They cancel, and then they blame it on those guys not showing up with the skiff flu. Not quite sure what that's all about either. I mean, there's a lot of speculation. Is it really because they don't want them back in there? Is it because, they were worried about what was going to be said? There's so many questions, but I found it quite interesting. I thought, oh, okay. Then the other part of it too is why didn't, again, it's that defense mechanism. Somebody says, hey, you kicked my dog. The first thing I say is, no, I didn't kick your dog. I don't wait 3 weeks to go, okay, I didn't kick your dog. You know what I mean? That kind of makes me question it a little bit, but I can't see him putting out a statement saying that they were canceled when they weren't. And there's no response from Anna-Paulina Luna or her group of monkeys either. So who knows?
Here's the interesting thing about it. And I think we all need to kind of take note about this little discrepancy, because I'm sure it's going to get swept under the rug like everything does. And people are going to look at it and say, okay, well, Luna said one thing, Elizondo's responded, nothing here, not a big deal. But I think we need to look deeper into that, because to me, that shows when things get public like that, it shows whatever side you're on, doesn't matter. It shows that there is a lack of communication going on.
Oh, for
sure. It shows a sense that they are not communicating properly, that neither side is willing to budge or give in any information, and that there are shenanigans being played on both sides. And the ones who lose are us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. There's no doubt about it. I just can't figure it out. I'm looking at some of the stuff that I researched today, and I wrote notes on it. And I'm like, Lou Pointed referenced Anna-Paulina Luna, asserting that she knows the truth, in quotes, about the situation and claimed to possess email, which I've seen, or which was posted and I saw. I should say it like I've got special access to his emails or something. But yeah, it turns around and yeah, it's the kids that suffer, right? Mom and dad are fighting and he said, she said. And yeah, ultimately it's us that are going, okay, just get over it, build a bridge. Let's get over it, come to Sunshine Shores, and let's get back on track. And I guess we'll have to wait and see if the resumes for the new whistleblowers are coming in hot and heavy, which I doubt very much.
Well, it's going to be interesting because in Elizondo's tweet, it basically reads, hey, man, I'm a whistleblower too. And if this is the way you're treating me, why are more people going to want to come out?
Exactly. Nope. He's bang on. I mean, that's just it. I guess it's like anything, but this is a big, huge topic. And I mean, I'm obviously stating the obvious, but this is a huge topic. And to play, silly bugger, for lack of a better phrase, what's enticing other people to come and sit down at the table and go, okay, this is a safe space. Let's get this done. These people are on the ball. They're asking good questions. There's whistleblower protection. There's all of that. Yeah, no, if I was one of those people sitting in the wings being indecisive, something like this would make me go, I don't know. Poor managerial structure.
It doesn't make for a bright future, man. No. It really doesn't.
No.
If one hand is trying to bite the other hand, even though there's no teeth involved, it is a little bit weird.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, it's not cohesive for any positive talks. It's not cohesive to, bringing people out that want to come out. Yeah. It's just, there's so many aspects. This little, not a big deal, but it is really, it ripples. It's the rock in the water, right? The ripples just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger just because of that little incident.
What else you got for us? We got 4.5 minutes.
Got 4.5 minutes. Well, let's see here. we have what we just spoke about. You guys were talking about a lot of my stuff tonight, so I'm trying to. I was
Well, we do
digging.
care.
What's that?
Just spill it. Just spill it.
Well, no, it was Anna Paulina Luna, so that was all right. That was the big story. But
let's talk about her on Joe Rogan because we need your thoughts on it.
Okay, yeah, I watched some of it. What was it when it came out yesterday? I can't believe that she just sat down and went blah, blah, blah. I was, I guess, I get pleasantly surprised, a little bit shocked. I know that I thought that Rogan did a good job and wasn't, he obviously giving her courtesy, but I found that he kept reaching over, and she wasn't. She played the classified game, but I thought that she gave up what she could, if that makes any sense. And I was like, okay, very interesting. It was a hot first 20-25 minutes, and then it kind of went into different things. But I was like, oh my gosh, man, like, okay, cool. Is she, does this cement it as her wanting to be, showing everybody that she is straight up and she wants to be a disclosure into this disclosure, and she feels that everybody has the right to know? Or is this just a big front? I don't know, but I was impressed. I thought it was good. I thought she did well, and I thought Joe asked some good questions on it.
What was your thoughts about her getting into the interdimensional side, that they seem to have been able to figure out the time-space continuum, they being the beings, the aliens, the NHIs, whatever you want to call them?
Mm-hmm. I thought that was very interesting too, and I liked the way that she how would you, I guess, the way that she brought it out and the way she spoke about it was like, yeah, okay, no, she mentioned that a few times, that it's real. And I was like, okay, but then she couldn't go any further, which was fine. And like Joe Rogan said, that's a pretty vague answer when she went, but I was like, okay, so we have somebody in the government that's not a trust me, bro. And she said, yeah, this is real. And I was like, okay, that's a huge step. My opinion, that's a huge step, because somebody sitting in, at the White House or in the Pentagon or up on Capitol Hill or wherever else she works has just said, yep, it's there. It's true. It's real. It's that I've seen it. I've seen photos. I've been in, classified stuff. And I was just like, wow, wow. Yeah, it kind of blew my mind. I think that's great. I think it's like I say, a big push and a big step forward.
I also thought it very interesting how, she was talking about the photos that she's seen of craft, and then explaining how she couldn't, talk about what was actually particularly on the photos. But I like how Joe Rogan actually said, well, why can't we see them? What's wrong with us seeing them? And she being Luna really didn't have a good answer for that.
No, she did sidestep it. And I guess again, and I'm not defending her as a government entity, don't get me wrong, but I mean, yeah, I guess there's only so much she can say, and well, quote unquote national security, right? But yeah, I think she sidestepped it, but I think a lot of what she said was really good, and I was glad to see that she was quite candid. She didn't seem like she was sitting back, thinking her answers out. She was answering, and it was good. I don't know what else to say, man. I thought she did a really good job, and I was pretty impressed.
I do believe she wants to say more.
Oh,
I really do believe she wants to say more.
Yeah, and I think you could tell that too. Like I say, there was no hesitancy in anything she said, and she wasn't sitting there doing those pregnant pauses and stuff. I think she delivered the answers to the questions quite good and quite rapidly, and normally that indicates that there's nothing to hide. She's just telling you what she knows, right? Or allegedly knows.
That's what it's all about. We're going to continue on with the UFO report with our good friend, Little Timmy James, here on Spaced Out Radio. And he's going to bring more UFO news to you. So stick around. A lot of good stuff coming in the last half hour of tonight's show.
This is Spaced Out Radio. Your host, Dave Scott.
By the way, I don't know
Yes.
if you heard me during one of the breaks earlier talking to Michelle Eilis about the Navajo warrior.
No, I didn't.
There was a note put on my desk when I came
What?
into studio. And the two goofballs
Oh, great.
were basically making fun of Navajo warrior in his retirement.
Oh.
Basically claiming that he, was chicken. And that's why he chose to retire before facing them in the ring.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. It was.
Wow.
I thought it was really rude and disrespectful. Personally,
I'd say, what a couple of jerks. Yeah.
I hate those guys.
I know. And I'm glad I haven't seen them in a while, actually.
Oh, they're horrible people.
But how did you get a note on your desk?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think one of them has a key to my house.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Like I literally walked in the door into the studio. I'm having a good night. And I look down on my, I got my notepad there.
Yep.
And there's a note there.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, oh my God.
I didn't know either one of those guys knew how to write or print.
Well, apparently they did.
Yeah, no kidding. That's all right. Gonna have to put a game cam in your studio.
You're gonna have to. Gonna have to.
Keep them buggers out.
Right?
Yep.
Horrible stuff.
When's
horrible abusive words.
No kidding. So speaking of which, has Navajo Warrior pulled the plug already, or is he coming up to it?
No, the retirement match is coming on up.
Oh.
Michelle responded in the chat room that Navajo Warrior would always come back for one more match against El Ovni Volador and El Fantasma.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Yeah. My money is on Navajo Warrior.
Oh, yeah. No question.
Big time.
No question.
Big time.
He'd come back for that, eh?
Hold on. Von Patrick, hold on. Dave, time for a shave. I have some family members pass through your stomping grounds. Was going to see if you could put them up for the night, but hey, I couldn't have you hate me for eternity. I would have just sent him to little Timmy James's house.
Yeah.
They could have cuddled with Molly and
the
other two dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or we could have had him cuddle with the bear off behind the trailer there. That'd be perfect. There you go.
Lex Diaz, how are you? Deborah Rooney, why does Dr. Pepper come in a bottle?
Oh.
Is this one of Deb's jokes?
That's got to be.
Is this a not safe for work joke?
Because the specimen cup's too small? I don't know. Oh. Deb. Jesus.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's horrible.
It's horrible as we laugh our faces
Oh,
off.
no. How do you explain that one?
You don't.
It's almost getting to the point with Deb that you can't read what she says. You just can't, because it's kind of like you in the studio the other night when you made me laugh.
I know, right? Need the 7-second delay on the texts.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
that'll be going around work tomorrow.
yes, it will. Thank you, Von Patrick. We got a minute here.
Okay. What kind of bottle? Oh my God. Here we go.
And this is where we lose control of our YouTube audience.
You betcha.
The countdown has already expired. Speaking of which, thank you to Michelle ×2, Dutch Hank, Pam Harris, JSCO, Von Patrick, Science Bob, Cat Chaser, and Michelle ×2 for the super chats Greatly appreciate your love and support. Remember, if you are a member on our YouTube side, you can watch the next episode. I'm going to post it for Friday. Friday afternoon, you get the early bird version of the next edition of Secrets of the Forest. Yeah, that's what we're going to do for the members. Got to be a member to see it. The rest of you will have to wait till Sunday. Yeah.
This will be awesome.
Yeah. It will be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. We love you guys tuning us in to enjoy the woo with us and to learn new fashions in tinfoil. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Little Timmy James in for the UFO report. He is always here each and every week, hanging on out with us, telling us about the latest UFO news. What do you got for us, Tim?
All right. The search for first-hand whistleblowers with direct hands-on experience in alleged UAP or UFO reverse engineering programs has intensified, with Jeremy Corbell addressing the issue in a recent interview on the Mechanized podcast. Corbell expressed frustration over the barriers preventing such witnesses from coming forward, emphasizing the urgency for their testimony. There are people who have been in the rooms, who have seen the craft, who have worked on the technology, he stated, underscoring the existence of individuals with intimate knowledge of these programs. However, he cautioned that these potential whistleblowers face severe constraints, noting the system is designed to silence them. Legal threats, career destruction, you name it. Corbell highlighted the challenges of bringing these accounts to light, saying, "We're close, but it's a battle. These folks are scared, and the ones who've seen the real stuff, the hardware, they're buried under layers of secrecy." He also addressed the lack of verifiable evidence from firsthand sources, stating, "We've got people like Barber talking about retrievals, but we need the ones who were hands-on for years, not just moments." Corbell stressed the need for protections warnings. Without real safeguards, you're asking these people to risk everything for nothing. The comments reflect a broader tension within the UFO disclosure community, where the absence of concrete, firsthand accounts continues to hinder progress. Corbell remained resolute, saying, "I'm not giving up. There are people out there who know, and we're going to find a way to get the truth out." Despite the obstacles, his remarks suggest a persistent effort to uncover those with direct experiences. Those significant hurdles remain in breaking through the wall of secrecy surrounding alleged UFO programs. Very good interview. It was pretty blunt. I watched it. And I was actually surprised. For me, I didn't realize how some of these people that are working with NDAs and in super top classified departments, wherever locations, they are combed through every single moment of their life. For example, I was quite surprised, and you can watch the interview on whatever X or whatever, or on his podcast, but it surprised me. He was telling me that, what'll happen is Dave works for a 3-letter agency that's, reverse engineering something. And then Dave's significant other is cheating. So Dave goes, forget it. I'm done. I'm over this. I don't care anymore. My life's worthless. I'm just going to go blah and blurt out everything I know because nothing matters anymore. Well, they already, the overseers are watching this all the time. They know where Dave's significant other is going. They know where Dave's significant other has been. They know what that person is doing in their spare time, on their lunch breaks, on their days off. And they're one step ahead. So they know what's going on. And they're already prepared for Dave to lose it and blurt it out. So they dive on that. I was like, holy man, like they watch everything that's going on in your life, every single thing. And he was like, that's why these guys don't come out. They can't say anything, because when they've got the idea to do it, the overseers are already 20 steps ahead, knowing that you were going to do it. I was like, oh, gee. Okay, that's a different concept.
Oh, I would agree with you 100%. You know, I really would, because in the end, there's a story there.
Mm-hmm.
And within that story, there are people. And within those people, there's information that we need in order to help move this ball forward. And if every door is closed, eventually the door is going to close on whistleblowers.
Mm-hmm.
The door is going to close on their protection. The door is going to close on the information highway that we need open.
Yes.
Now, we need proper whistleblowers. We just don't need new names.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You know, it's like with Spaced Out Radio and the position you had. Before you, it was Courtney Marcassani. Before Courtney, it was Tim Senor when we started it up. Okay? It's one thing to have names, but it's another thing for people like yourself and Courtney and Tim who are willing to put in the work to bring in the news.
Right.
We need people who are going to bring that information to the public. Otherwise, it's all going to be just one giant failure and egg on our face once again.
Right. Right. Oh, I understand that totally. I was shocked. I mean, I think I had ideas, or, you know, yeah, I guess ideas of what would, you know, they're watching, and I get it. Like, you're top secret, but the rest, like, he goes on, and there's some other stuff in there, and I'm not gonna, you know, spoiler alert everything, because you might want to go check it out. It was a really blunt interview and very animated, and he just laid it out. And I thought, for the first time for me with Corbell, he grabbed my attention. He always grabs the attention, and sometimes it's not always a positive way. It's a negative, or it's an attitude that makes you watch. But this one seemed to be a lot more genuine and a lot more, just blunt and straight to the point, and no sensationalism. This is what it is, and this is what we need to do. And you're right. Hopefully, there is a way to bring these people out from under the thumb, and provide them solace and protection, knowing that they can speak out, they can do this. And I really hope, I'm sure all of us do, not just for the sake of everything moving forward. I mean, that's huge, but also just for these are, like you said, these are human beings, these are people, and they have families and lives. And yeah, let's bring them out and protect them. Let's get this stuff on the table. You know, you can't take out the king. You got to take out the pillars before the king falls, right? So let's start taking out pillars.
What else you got for us?
Well, in another interview, this one with Jordan Pearson, Dr. Gary Nolan, Stanford University immunologist, made a striking assertion. Evidence suggests a non-human presence has existed on Earth for an extended period, leading him to conclude that the planet may be somebody else's property, in quotes. The statement, drawn from Nolan's research into UFOs, has drawn attention from both scientific and public spheres. Nolan, who has collaborated with government agencies, as we know, on UAP investigations, revealed that an individual claiming White House affiliation contacted him, urging him to cease discussing his findings. Nolan's claims stem from his analysis of materials and data linked to the UFO sightings, which he argues point to technological signatures beyond current human capabilities. He emphasized that his conclusion is provisional, based on ongoing research, but the implications challenge conventional understanding of humanity's place in the cosmos. The alleged White House intervention has raised questions about transparency and government stance on UFO-related disclosure. Critics, of course, argue Nolan's assertions sufficient evidence, noting that extraordinary claims require robust data. Supporters, however, point to his credentials and assess to classified materials as lending weight to his statements. The call from the White House, if true, suggests an effort to manage the narrative surrounding UFOs, a topic that has gained traction, obviously, in the last few years, more so with all the stuff that's been going on. Nolan's remarks add a provocative dimension to the debate, prompting calls for greater scientific scrutiny and openness for government institutions. As the decision unfolds, the question whether Earth's hosts or has hosted non-human entities remains unresolved, leaving room for both skepticism and curiosity. That was kind of a Reader's Digest version of it. Again, I watched this interview, and he was pretty colorful and animated about it, and kind of leading people. It was a trust me, bro moment, granted, but yeah, he seemed staunch on saying they're out there. They've been here for years. This isn't our planet. This is theirs. We're a science experiment. On and on and on and on. So I was like, okay, pretty interesting.
Which pretty much contradicts everything that Anna Paulina Luna said today,
right,
on the Joe Rogan podcast. I watched little bits and pieces of that Gary Nolan interview with Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
And I was glad Jordan Peterson went down that road, because him being a clinical psychologist, working with the mind, I would love to see him go deeper into this, especially with ET abductees. That would be phenomenal to actually see.
Yes.
But the fact that he took on this subject with Gary Nolan, I thought was pretty brave.
Yeah.
I thought it was good,
Yeah.
but it contradicts everything that Anna Paulina Luna was saying, especially looking at the religious aspects of this phenomena and the biblical aspects of it all. That one kind of threw me off guard.
Me too.
That's for sure.
Me too. And what was it? And speaking of that, what did she say? There was chapters that have been removed, and verses that have been removed that basically point to extraterrestrial life and what have you. So yeah, that was pretty interesting as well. I was like, boing, what? But yeah, definite distinct contradiction between the two of them speaking. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure. 9 minutes to go. What else you got for us?
I've got another one. So this happened on the 7th of August of this year. So a startling account emerged detailing an alleged encounter by Eddie Abbott with an UFO that has intensified discussion about their presence. Abbott, a retired military analyst, described a transparent craft hovering 8 feet above his head, exhibiting properties he termed living metal, and including time distortion effects, raising questions about the nature of such sightings and their implications for humanity. So according to Abbott's account, the craft appeared almost ethereal, its surface shifting as if composed of a fluid or an adaptive material. He reported an unsettling sensation of time slowing or warping, with seconds stretching into what felt like minutes. The object, silent and devoid of visible propulsion, lingered briefly before vanishing, leaving Abbott disoriented but unharmed. This vivid description aligns with a growing number of UFO reports that challenge conventional aerospace explanations. So skeptics question the veracity of Abbott's claim, noting the absence of corroborating evidence like video or sensor data. High-definition monitoring systems, both terrestrial and satellite-based, are known to operate continuously, yet no official confirmation of Abbott sighting has surfaced. Critics argue that the personal testimonies, while compelling, often lack the rigor needed to substantiate these extraordinary claims. Conversely, proponents of the UFO research point to the consistency of Abbott's description with other whistleblowers' accounts, such as those referencing classified programs like Immaculate Constellation, which allegedly tracked non-human craft globally. Abbott's encounter also raised technical questions about the reported living metal and time distortion effects. Some scientists speculate that such phenomenon could involve advanced metamaterials or manipulations of space-time, though these remain theoretical. The lack of accessible data continues to hinder progress, with experts calling for dedicated, transparent observation systems to study UFOs in real time. The reported sighting, whether a glimpse of advanced technology or something more profound, has underscored the persistent mystery surrounding them. With public skepticism rising, polls indicate that over 2/3 of Americans, and just Americans only, believe the government conceals UFO truths. Abbott's account may pressure authorities to address these enigmas more openly. For now, the transparent craft and its otherworldly effects remain another unsolved puzzle. So there was drawings and pictures that were with this when I read the article, and kind of, yeah, I think that people in high places and with big jobs and have huge brains don't know how to draw. They really don't, because I was like, what the heck is that? But yeah, it was kind of one of those And what got me was the liquid metal thing, because I've heard of that. I've heard of that in some reports before. People see it looks like it's made of liquid metal and it's not a solid piece. So is it the heat signatures, or like when you see the heat radiating off a road, or is that really what's happening?
I don't know. I really don't know. These transparent, I'm just going to put it in terms that I can understand.
Absolutely.
Especially after what happened this past weekend in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
This whole transparency thing, and I'm not talking disclosure transparency that doesn't exist, but I'm saying like cloaking transparency that UFOs, cryptids, and everything seems to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's messing with my head, man.
I
All right.
I agree with you.
It's messing with my head. I don't get it. I don't understand how these beings, individuals, craft, whatever you want to call it, have the ability to just, flick a switch and all of a sudden they're translucent.
Yeah. It's mind-blowing, really, because I've sat around and I've thought about that stuff, and you obviously, when you're doing your research or when you're reading and stuff, and you read, like things like this, you go, okay. So sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, this is like the 497,000th person that's described it this way. But every once in a while, you come across somebody that describes it and you go, okay, that's new to me anyway. Maybe I mentioned it to you and you go, oh yeah, I've heard that 1,000 times. But yeah, some of the stuff is like, okay. And with us, like you say, being up at Flight 21, yeah, there's so much coming at us, and trying to decipher all of it, I think, would make us both go insane, really, until it starts coming out. But yeah, especially with all this, with the UFO stuff and the crafts, that it just.
I'll give you a weird story. I have never told you this story.
Okay.
When we lived in Mission, British Columbia, we were over at a friend's house for a meditation. And there was about 10 of us there. After the meditation, we walk outside and we go into the forest because we wanted to show them where we had the Bigfoot encounter.
Right.
Come out of the forest. Pardon me, the alien encounter with Samantha Mowat, her and I, the one her and I had. We come out of the forest. The guy who owns the house looks up at the sky and says, "Hey, what's that?" There is a translucent orb hovering above the house.
Oh.
Now, probably, I would say 1,000 feet or so in the air.
Okay.
Okay. Not very high, not very low. So we watched this for about half an hour, and then we had to head home. So we end up driving on home. And as it's about a 5-6 mile drive, not far. And we get home, and I go outside of my patio because I want to see where this translucent orb is.
Right.
And I'm looking in the direction of my friend's house, which is west.
Okay.
Can't see it. Look over top of my house, and it's now over top of my house.
Shut up.
It was over top of my house for 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
And then it went north, and eventually disappeared. By like the 3 hour 15 mark, it was gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this this was an orb. Obviously, no sounds, no anything.
Nope, nothing.
Wow.
And
Changing
for all
color.
I know, for the
Sorry.
record, because not everything is woo. I love the woo, want the woo. Everything should be woo.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a woo-aholic. Okay. But for the record, it could have been one of those weather balloons, those that the universities test. It could have been. I don't know if it was or not, but it could have been.
What color was it?
Translucent.
Okay. And this was during at night?
Daytime.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. I was like, hang on a second. No little basket underneath it for passengers or anything like that.
No, there was no baskets underneath. You know, there was no angels flying around it. There was not much.
No, I'm still thinking.
It looked like one of those oversized beach balls.
Yeah, but it followed you 6 miles from a friend's place to your house? No.
Yes.
I don't think that that's a beach ball or a weather balloon. I think you got something weird.
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it's one of the interesting pieces of woo that Dave has in his woo closet.
Yeah, I like it.
Out there.
Need some more woo, buddy. Need some
next
more
to
woo.
the Dave boxer shorts that you can get on our website, spacedoutradio.com. Those are pretty awesome. We're going to do a pair of little Timmy James ones here too.
Oh, gee.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
That's what you want.
My brother.
Your conch.
We will talk to you tomorrow night for the abbreviated version of the UFO report. You were absolutely awesome as anything, and I'm very much excited to hang out with you all weekend with Lee and Merle as well. It's going to be a great, great time as we get ready to say goodnight to little Timmy James and the UFO report. And hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. Rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for you too. Good night, everybody. I literally have everybody at work, except the Christian dude,
right,
giving me the middle finger every time I walk by him now.
Well, see what you started?
Yeah, totally.
You're an instigator, my friend.
I am totally an instigator.
Did you see Joe Monk's got Jessica Alba underwear? But she didn't know he was in her bedroom.
Von Patrick, Dave, please don't ban me. Why would I ban you? You voted for Trudeau and McCartney, man, and I still didn't ban you. I love you, Von Patrick. Okay? Sure, you're shaken, not stirred. But, I mean, I love you. And you're an Edmonton guy. I mean, how do you not like anybody from Edmonton? Vaughn, and I'm teasing Vaughn. Vaughn is literally one of the nicest people I've met. He really is. And you know what? I hate to say this. Most Northern Albertans are.
Are nice?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
You betcha.
Very nice people. Right?
Mhm.
Very nice. He actually, I actually rode back with Vaughn when we went to Virginia City back into Reno. I
Right.
rode back with Vaughn, and we had some incredible conversation
Right
on the
on.
way back. I hope he comes to Vegas next year.
Vegas.
Yeah. Dave, has Merle ever talked about the Enchanted Forest in BC? Off topic, but the place is creepy. I have heard about this, but I don't know where it is. Give me some more information, Vaughn, if you don't mind. I will ask him about that.
Yeah.
Maybe Vaughn's already left. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's right, Tim Mothman and Tim Mothman's goatee. Freaking love Vaughn Patrick. He's good people. He is. What's the date here? 13. I only got one show this
Yeah.
week.
That's right.
Dog 1325.
Revelstoke? Is that what they're talking about?
What?
I'm just reading Von Patrick. Has Merle ever talked about the Enchanted Forest in BC? Well, the only one that's listed as the Enchanted Forest, it's in Revelstoke, and it's actually, I think I've seen it on the news and stuff a few times. It looks like dwarves and hobbit, like it's in the middle of an old growth forest, and it's somebody's property, and then you can go in and there's tree houses, and yeah, it's kind of funky but creepy.
I'd go there.
I'd try it.
Dude, after the shit we have felt at Flight 21, this would be easy.
Well, that's true. I would, yeah. This is true. What do you mean there's gnomes in the garden? What are we looking at here? Oh, they're open. Yeah, admission is closed 30 minutes before. Yeah, it's got to be the same place. Hey, seniors are free. Too bad for you, Dave.
You just totally took a shot at yourself.
That's okay, but I get in free. Anybody over 800 gets in free. I'm just saying, if you don't believe I'm over 800, just ask this guy.
When you ask Tim, what's your favorite period in hockey? He says Jurassic.
Thank you. He'll be here all week.
Uh-huh.
Are there any stairs in that forest? Well, I don't know. I'm looking at the pictures. It is kind of cool looking, that's for sure. There's got to be a story behind it, though. Anyway. You working full day Friday?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, don't forget to come on over.
Oh, no, we won't, for sure.
Yeah. We got a good weekend plan. This is like a vacation weekend, and you don't have to leave your house.
No kidding.
We get extra small Lee Strauss. Like, if you've never seen Lee, he's itty bitty.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I'm part of the Lollipop Guild. Hey, watch out for me. Don't step on me.
We all wear pockets with t-shirts with pockets when Lee comes up, so we can stick them in there. You can just hang out and look. Moody Mongo. What's that? Oh, we need Dave and Tim gnomes for sale in the SOR shop.
Moody Mongol, have you bought anything at our store? Because we do not have ugly swag. And Tim and I would make ugly swag.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No question. That's what Deb keeps saying. Take your shirt off. No, you don't want to see that mess.
Tim wears a girdle.
A girdle.
He asked me to tighten it up once before going into Flight 21.
Yeah. Put your foot in the small of my back. Pull on those strings.
Mm-hmm.
Dave and Tim bobbleheads. Oh. So when we go to Vegas next year, are we going farther past the sign to the gate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it depends on what's going on next year down there. But yeah. Oh.
How was your day today?
It was okay till I had that ice pick headache. And then, yeah, everything discombobulated, reading words backwards and couldn't spell. And I was like, okay, I got to go. Got home and took my meds, laid down for a couple of hours and still feeling a little lethargic, but better than I was. That's for sure. And
let's all send Human Carl some love.
Yeah.
We need to send Human Carl some love. Because we love our Human Carl here.
Mm-hmm.
Human Carl is going to go kick ass in the operating room here soon.
Oh, good luck to you, buddy.
Human Carl, everybody. Human fucking Carl. We love that guy. I would let Human Carl tug my beard. If he wanted to tug my beard, I would let him tug my beard. Just saying. And I don't think that's weird at all.
No?
No. Human Carl, if you want my beard, I'll shave it and send it to you. I would do that.
Oh.
I would do that for Human Carl.
Could you? What's in the bag? What do you got in the bag there, sir? It's my good luck charm.
Human Carl doesn't want my beard. Human Carl, you could literally wear it as a bonnet. You live in the Arizona heat. All you got to do is, if I shave my beard, just turn it upside down, flip it over, and you'd have a nice pointy bonnet. Keep you out of the heat.
Mm-hmm.
How do you turn that down?
Well, first of all, it wouldn't look weird at all. That's
no, not at all. People would say, "Hey, Human Carl, what's with that bonnet on your head?" Yeah, it's keeping my head warm. It's cold out here at 78 degrees in the Arizona desert in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
It's so cold, I almost had to put a hoodie on.
Uh-oh. Deb said she'd make a bikini out of your beard. I know.
I don't quite know how to think about that.
I thought that was a very nice offer. Joe, oh my God.
That's the way it happens.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Tomorrow night on the show, Eric Mitchell and Heidi Gadd will be here to talk about their absolutely extraordinary UFO alien occurrence that they shared with Dr. Michael Masters. Yeah,
that'll be
fun.
Good. Yeah.
Tomorrow night, or that's tomorrow night on the show. My brain is fried. Thank you to Cat Chaser Science Bob, Michelle ×2, Dutch Hank, Deborah Rooney, Vaughn ×2, Shaq Valet, Pam Harris, JSEO for the great super chats. We appreciate the love. Hey guys, do us a favor, if you really don't mind. Take the time to share this show. Tell your friends about it. We want more. We want more of you listening on in. Deborah Rooney, there's ×2 for you too. Thank you, Deb, for your great love of SOR. Thank you, my dear. Bring everybody over. We have fun here. They need to come have fun with us. Appreciate y'all. Timmy, we'll see you soon. See you tomorrow night.
You bet your butt.
I'm out. Good night.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.